with you. And so the topic of our conversation today is really going to be studying for a master's in the US, applying to master's programs. What's that process like? Before we get there, I do want to kind of walk you through a little bit about Rice and Houston so you can envision where I am and where my colleagues are. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Okay. And then I'm going to start my slideshow. Hopefully you all can see that. Looks like you can. Perfect. So just by way of introduction, I think it's always a great place to start. I wanted to introduce myself to you all. My name, as they said, is Jennifer Hunter. I'm Assistant Dean in the Office of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies here at Rice University. So this is my contact information. You're welcome to jot this down. Contact me anytime if you have questions, and we are happy to talk more about all things grad school and Rice and Houston, and we're very happy to do that. I also want to introduce you to our Dean of Graduate Studies who's here today. And so his contact information is also here. Seichi, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. I'm Seichi. I'm Dean of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies at Rice. We have great affection for the Paraguayan people and the Fulbright Scholarship Program. I don't know, is it still called Becas Carlos Antonio Lopez, or is that still the same program? Okay, good.
Yep.
And Jennifer, can I share screen? I'm getting kind of sideways.
Let me stop here. Yeah,
Okay.
Can you share?
Not yet. I want to show a funny picture.
There you go.
Here, I just made you a co-host too.
Does that show up?
It shows up. Oh, look at, who is that guy there?
So this was maybe in 2016. So Don Antonio Espinosa, I don't know if you know him, but he was a key person in developing the Becas Carlos Antonio Lopez program in the first place. And so he invited me to come to Asuncion and to sign the paperwork. And so I think Rice was the first university to sign on. And so it was a big thrill to be at this event. I didn't know I was supposed to wear a dark suit. And so I think these are all I think high people from the administration. I don't remember his name, but he was the Ministerio de la Hacienda for Paraguay at that time.
He is actually now the current president, Santiago Peña.
Okay. Yeah, he was an impressive guy, and people said
that makes it even funnier.
Yeah, people said one day he's going to be president, and I guess that turned out to be true. So, okay, thank you. I'll stop sharing now. So I better save this picture. I wonder if he'll sign it for me. Do I need to do anything, Jennifer, to stop sharing?
I think I can just go back to sharing now. Yeah. Okay, great. And so again, please feel free to contact us at any time. We're always happy to talk Rice and grad school. I did want to talk about a couple of the programs that we work with. So the first one is our grad student ambassadors. If you're wondering what life is like for a student in a particular field of study or a particular region of the world, you can visit the address on this page and you can reach out to any of the students there. They will be happy to talk to you about their experience. Many of them are international, so they can share that unique experience of moving to the United States for study. So please do feel free to reach out to them. There's just a few of them here on this screen, but we have about 70 total, and so plenty of students in all different areas of study. The next group I wanted to talk about, of course, is our Fulbright group. So this is a group of current graduate students who hold a Fulbright, or students who have gone abroad and then come back to the United States on a Fulbright. It's our graduate student community, and we do a lot together. So lots of lunches. We have lunch together twice a month. You can see in this picture, we took a visit to NASA Johnson Space Center as a group. And so we try and do as many cultural experiences as we can as a group together. And we also have one of our current Fulbright alumni here today. So Matthias, would you like to introduce yourself and say a little bit about your experience at Rice?
Hello. Hello. Sorry. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Seichis. Nice to see you again. So, yeah, I was a Fulbrighter at Rice. I came back to Paraguay last December, back home. And actually, like, I was doing a master degree in data science. So, yeah, I'm here. So, if you have like any questions, you can just type your questions in the chat and I'll try to answer.
Thank you, Matthias. So yeah, any questions about Fulbright, please do let us know, Fulbright at Rice, and please, again, work with your Fulbright advisors. They're going to be experts in all things Fulbright and all things grad school, and they can help you through these processes. So a little bit about Rice before we dive into our topic today. I like this photo a lot because you can see kind of this iconic building that's the original Rice building from 1912. Kind of behind us and to the sides is all the campus. But I like this picture because you can see downtown Houston over here on the left. All of this green space is Herman Park. It's a great place to go running. That's where our zoo is if you like to go to the zoo and explore a little bit. And we have our McGovern Gardens there as well. So lots to explore right around the campus, which I really, really appreciate. Something that's not in this photo that I do want to point out, it's just over here to the right out of sight. It's the Texas Medical Center. It's the largest medical center in the world. So if you're at all interested in healthcare related research, which touches on basically every field of study, right? Students in data science to students in philosophy are all doing kind of healthcare related things. So it's a great place to be and a great place to learn from the collaborators and the surgeons and the doctors that we work with. A little bit more about Rice. We are a small private research institution located in Houston, Texas, and we have kind of a unique model. So many universities in the United States focus on the undergraduate experience. The Rice model is a little bit different. We have about 50% grad students, 50% undergrad. So we're pretty evenly split. It's a really good place to get involved and to advocate for your graduate student colleagues and to help our university kind of get to the next level in terms of graduate education. All right, so where is Rice? So this map will kind of show you where we are in Texas. We are just down off the Gulf Coast there, so it's not too far from the beach, about an hour's drive, and so it's a really great place to explore a little bit of Texas and the United States, especially because we have two major airports, so it makes it really easy to get around and explore a little bit while you are here. Houston is also a really diverse city. It's one of the most diverse cities in the United States. It's the fourth largest, and it's just a great place. It's a great place to explore. It's a great place to dine out. If you are like me and you're very food motivated, you will find that the restaurants in Houston will have something for everyone. And I hope that you find it very welcoming. I hope it feels like home to you. About 40% of Houstonians do speak Spanish at the dinner table, and so we hope that it's a very welcoming place for you. A little bit more about Rice. These are the schools that we offer graduate degrees in. So architecture, business, continuing studies, engineering, humanities, music, natural science, and social sciences. And so if you're wondering if there's a specific program of study, it's a great idea to start with these schools and then narrow down your focus from there. A little bit about the student life, and I'm gonna make Matthias talk about that in a little bit as well. But lots of things going on. This week we have our culture night on Thursday, and so this is basically the big event for our international community. It's a great excuse for us to come together, eat a lot of tasty food, which you already know that I love to do, and just generally enjoy and experience all of the different cultures that we have on the Rice campus. Beer bike is another unique Rice tradition. We're not usually known for our sports prowess, but like some American universities might be, but this is our sporting event in spring. It's beer bike, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It is a bicycle race / beer drinking competition. I don't drink, but it's still a fun kind of spectacle thing to go and see, and so everyone is welcome, and certainly a unique thing for Rice. And then, of course, we have events like Rice Pride. It's another chance for us to get together and support everyone in our community. And we do have events in April, June, and October. So I'm going to go ahead and dive into our topic today. I'm going to try not to talk too fast, but I do want to make sure that we get through as much as possible so that we have plenty of time for question and answer. We're specifically talking about master's degrees today, but if you're kind of wondering, which degree should I choose? What should I do? Why should I go to grad school? Certainly there's some reasons on the screen in front of you. So maybe you want ultimately to get more mastery in a specific field of study. You might want to advance your career and make a little more money. Or if you're thinking about a PhD, maybe you want to become a professor and people will call you doctor. These are all great reasons, but the most important thing is to have a reason. So grad school can be a financial commitment. It can be a time commitment. You really want to make sure that you have well-defined why you want to do this, why you want to pursue a graduate degree. So where to start? I think the best thing to do that I've heard from so many students that have come through Rice is start with a big spreadsheet. So make sure all of your data points are in one place. And really, you're going to want to start thinking about, where do you want to be? Location might be very important to you. You might want to think about the type of program. So do you want a master's that's more focused on research? Do you want a master's that's really not focused on research, that's more about coursework? If you're doing research, are there specific faculty at an institution that you'd want to work with? So all of the things on the screen and so many more are really important data points to record, but start thinking about what is best for you. And what is best for you, it's going to be different for every person. So really be critical in that thinking. So what programs are a good fit? Very, very individualized, but this is going to be sort of, the data points that are going to be in these columns that are important to you. Is there a supportive community there? What are the outcomes of a program? What do those look like? In this spreadsheet, you should also list the important details, like what you need to apply. When is that application deadline? All of these things should be part of the beginning of your research. And really kind of take careful note of your interactions with different institutions. Are they responsive to you? Are they responding quickly? And how are they connecting you with resources that will help you make your decision? So really think carefully about those interactions with different institutions and make it part of your research as you're going through this experience of applying to grad school. So grad study in the US, if you are going for a research master's, and we'll get into the different kinds of degrees in a moment, but if you're going for a research master's, if you kind of know what you want to study, or if you've got a specific subfield in mind, look for schools that offer those areas, look for faculty that you'd be happy to work with. And also keep in mind that competitive applications can be really different across different areas. So at Rice, if you're applying to a master's and a PhD program, what makes you a competitive applicant is going to really vary based on the program that you're applying to. I also want to note that it's okay if you don't know exactly what you want to study. If you're thinking, okay, I really want to study, industrial engineering, but you don't have it narrowed down from there, that is totally okay. And there's going to be a lot of support when you get to grad school that will kind of help you make that decision. You might be thinking about a research master's, a thesis master's, and research experience going into that can be important, but know that research can take a lot of forms. Experience can take a lot of forms, and you want to really showcase your potential to conduct research. So many students that we see every year are already in industry, and they're trying to figure out, do I want to do this research career, and how do I decide that? And we'll talk about that as well. But you really, when you're applying to grad school, you want to showcase your academic potential, the potential that you have to be a contributor and a colleague within graduate school. So what can you do now to prep for grad school? There's a lot of things you can do. The first thing, of course, is to start doing your research. There's not one central website that's going to tell you all of the best and worst things about every US university. The best thing that you can do is start to log all of the universities that you're interested in. So put them in your spreadsheet and start kind of thinking about where you want to be and start making your spreadsheet with the data points for each university. If you're going for a thesis master's, make sure you read some journals. So grad school is a lot of writing and a lot of reading. And so you want to make sure that you're up to date with what's happening in your field of study. And it's also going to give you an idea of how people write in your field of study as well. Think about what schools you're interested in and what they focus in. Not every school is going to be the perfect fit for you, especially if they don't offer exactly what you're interested in, if your interests are very narrow. So think about schools that are going to help you have the career outcomes that you really, really want. Look into faculty research projects if you're thinking about a thesis master's, and make sure that you're thinking about, okay, is this going to be a good fit for me? Will they be taking students next year? And how is all of this going to work? And then certainly you should apply to fellowships like Fulbright. You are already in great hands with Yasmin and Belen, and you should make sure to get their advice as you go through this process. They're going to be experts and they're going to guide you. But these applications, even just applying to Fulbright, it looks really great to an admissions committee because they can see your dedication and they know that you're putting yourself out there. So always talk about the fellowships that you have in progress, not just the things that you have won. Seeking advice, we talked about this a little bit, but really work with your Education USA advisors, work with your Fulbright advisors, get as much guidance as you can, because again, they are the experts. They work with students every year to get them ready for graduate school and the application process. Make sure you talk to your faculty advisors if you're already in school, or talk to your peers who are already in grad school and get their experience as well. What's that been like for them? How did they approach the process of applying to grad school? It's really important to know your audience. So when you're applying to grad school, your audience is the admissions committee. That's who you're speaking to with your application materials. So knowing how those committees work can be really important. Sometimes in master's programs, you may have one person that's making many decisions for different programs, and they're the ones that's kind of centralized in this admissions process. In things like research masters, it could really be down to, which fields which subfields need people to work there. And so it could really be structured based on what the program needs. Do they need researchers in a specific subfield? Think carefully though about who you're speaking to. So if you're thinking about a research master's, there is a chance that you will have a group of young faculty members who are going to be your admissions committee. For non-research masters, for a non-thesis master's, generally it can be maybe just one person making decisions. So master's or PhD, what does that look like? And this is a little bit of the breakdown. So doctoral degree, that's kind of the ultimate degree you can get. It is a thesis-based degree. It can take 4 to 6 years to complete. Typically in the US, a PhD is fully funded and offers a stipend, and you do not need a master's degree to apply to a PhD in the US. A research-based master's degree, this is a degree you'll write a thesis for, and these can be earned probably in 2 years, sometimes 3. At Rice and at many universities, these are not offered as a standalone degree. You will earn this as part of the PhD program, but they can be offered as standalone degrees. It's something that you'll have to do your research on. Funding can be available here, but usually only in the form of tuition waivers. So it's really important to think about how you're going to fund your master's education if you're going for a thesis master's. And there may be RA research assistant positions or teaching assistant positions that you could take on to earn some income, but really ask these questions of the programs you're applying to. Ask them about their funding models. Professional master's degrees, these are typically going to be non-thesis degrees that provide an edge in industry. So think like an MBA would be an example of a professional master's degree. Usually you don't have funding provided in the form of a stipend or a tuition waiver, but that's because they know that you're going to go out and make a lot more money. And so it's something to think about there when you're trying to figure out what's best for you. Really weigh the pros and cons. I will note that Rice will waive tuition for all Fulbrighters who are accepted to any of the master's or doctoral programs at Rice as well. So if you're planning on teaching at a US university, it's likely that you'll need a PhD. And again, it's completely fine to pursue that straight from the bachelor's. You don't need a master's to apply to the PhD. Some universities will offer degrees in related fields. So if you really have your heart set on international relations, don't overlook programs like global affairs. Really think more about what the program is offering and what the outcomes are and how that can impact you as a student and beyond. So really think carefully about the program name. Don't get too attached to a specific name of a program and think broadly. Think very broadly. So why a master's degree? We talked a little bit about why grad school. Now let's narrow it down further. So why a master's degree? Increased salary is a big reason that we hear, and of course you can earn a range of different things, but about 18% on average higher than just a bachelor's degree. So really good reason to get a master's degree. Lots more advanced job opportunities. So this is giving you an edge. It's giving you more expertise, more mastery of a specific subject. And that will be a great thing for your career when you're applying to promotions or to other jobs. And that gives you a competitive edge as well within your career field. It also gives you a lot more focused understanding of your subject. So it'll increase your own knowledge of the things that you're working on. And you can really explore your passions this way. So think carefully about what you want to do. Think how a master's degree could fit with you, and what you ultimately want to do with your life. It's really, really important to think about. So what to consider in a master's program? How do you weigh different master's programs and figure out which is the one that's right for you? And we talked a little bit about fit, and certainly that's the most important thing. Here are some things that you can consider. So rankings are important, but they're not everything. Just because a school is ranked very highly doesn't mean it's the best school for you. They might not offer the thing that you want to study. It might not be in a location that's right for you. So really think carefully about what is good for you as an individual. Reputation of school, I think, is a great thing to think about. And that's not just, the academic reputation, but is it a supportive community? What is that culture like? And how are people supporting each other there? Facilities, if you're needing specialized equipment to do research, you really should think about what facilities are available to you. So something to think about there. You should always ask about outcomes, about career paths of graduates. Where are these graduates going? How much money are they making? What are they doing in their next chapter after grad school? So really, really important to think about, okay, how is this school setting people up for success, and what's it going to do for me? Financial aid is important to ask about. Many universities will have internal scholarships that you can apply for, so make sure that you're asking about those. Ask about cost of living. I think this is really important, and it's something that we don't talk about enough, especially in the United States. Depending on where you're living, the cost of living can vary wildly. It can be really expensive to live in some areas on the East Coast or the West Coast, and it can be more affordable in other areas. So you really need to weigh, what is important to you and how you're going to support yourself through grad school. Stipends can be available if you're in a research master's, and so it's important to ask about those if they're possible, and what can be done for you. Affordable housing is another thing that goes hand in hand with cost of living. So will you be able to afford a good apartment or a place to live while you're in grad school? And what's that going to be like? Does it have the amenities that you want? We talked a little bit about this already, but the climate within the program and institution, is it very competitive, or are students supportive of each other? What's the diversity like, and are people happy in the community that they've chosen? So really ask these questions. And it's a good way to ask these questions is to reach out to grad students. You can certainly reach out to our grad student ambassadors or our Fulbrighters, and they will definitely give you their opinions. So things you should also consider in master's programs are the opportunities that they give you while you're in school. Is the institution giving you network and industry exposure? Are they having events with different companies? Are they having those companies come and visit with you and meet you and talk about what's possible after graduation? Do they offer career exploration for a wide variety of careers? Are they helping you with resume workshops or connecting you at career fairs? What kind of things are they offering you that can help set you up for success? A lot of master's programs will have a mentorship part of it built in. And really what we're looking for here is, are you getting a chance to network with faculty and have that faculty mentorship? Are you getting mentorship maybe from people in industry that can help you figure out what you want to do career-wise, helping you academically? So really think critically about how you can ask questions about what mentorship opportunities are offered in terms of your development. Professional development courses and opportunities also really important. And this could be things like, Rice has a Center for Teaching Excellence, has a Center for Writing and Communication, a Center for Leadership. So are there opportunities for you to develop personally and academically? And what are those opportunities? Student community is really important as well. So make sure wherever you go to school, get involved early. Make sure that you are meeting other people, getting out of the lab, getting out of the library, and making an impact on campus and getting involved where you can. And so what are they offering you there? Really think carefully about, are there organizations here that are going to support me throughout everything. And what do those organizations look like? Which ones are important to me? And then internship opportunities. Are they helping you get internships while you're in school? Opportunities after graduation, I did want to mention OPT. It's a really great chance for you to get some face time with industry and go to work a little bit after you graduate and get that valuable work experience while you're in the United States as well. So this is a benefit that you can apply for, and a great benefit. There's plenty of STEM programs in the US that offer an extension for this as well. So great chance for you to work with a company in the US and get that work experience. Okay, so a little bit about the application itself. If you're wondering what the master's application looks like, generally you can be expected to provide transcripts for anywhere that you've attended previously. The graduate record exam, the GRE, this is broadly waived at Rice, but you could still be asked about scores, and we'll talk about that in a minute as well. English language proficiency at Rice, this is TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo. And of course, you know, we work through Fulbright if you're applying through Fulbright on this as well. Application fees, typically they can be anywhere from $50 to $100. At Rice, the application fee is $85, but we waive it for all Fulbright applicants. All you need to do is let us know that you're a Fulbright applicant on the application, and we will waive that fee for you entirely. Proof of financial support, this is really important for master's programs because they want to know, like, yes, they want to know that you can afford to attend the institution. They also want to know that you can support yourself through grad school. That's the most important thing. So this is going to be something like maybe your Fulbright award letter, or maybe you know, some kind of scholarship notification, but they want to see documents like that. Letters of recommendation, usually you're going to be asked for 3 letters of recommendation. We'll talk more about those as well. I think your essays, your personal statement, statement of purpose, diversity statement, those are probably the most important documents that you're going to work on, because that's your chance to speak directly to the admissions committee, right? And so that's your chance to show exactly who you are and talk to them directly. So really spend a lot of time on those, and we'll talk briefly about those as well. Your CV or your resume, this could differ based on if you're applying to a research master's or a professional master's, but whatever they're asking for, make sure you give them that exact document that they're asking for. And then research experience, you can show if you have it and you're applying to research master's programs. This will be important to show if you have it, but don't feel like that you're obligated to do this. But there's plenty of ways to do this. Usually it's through your CV, noting the projects that you've been involved in, any papers that you've been a part of. Okay, GRE, graduate record exam. And so some schools have waived this. Many schools do waive this now. Some still require it. Some have special language around this. So you might see the words strongly suggest or suggest. And that can be really confusing, right? But what we have seen the most of is that if they're saying suggested in any way, it's usually because they want to see those scores, but for whatever reason, they don't actually want to say that. And so if they're suggesting that you submit scores and you have scores that you're proud of, certainly go ahead and submit those. If they're saying it's waived entirely, there's a good chance they may not look at those scores. And so just take that into consideration. But if you have scores that you're proud of, I would always encourage you to submit those. Take a practice exam. You can work with Education USA on this to get access to materials and practice exams, and take those exams over the summer. Make sure you take the actual test at least 1 month before your application deadline, because it does take time for those scores to be reported to the institutions you're applying to. It's also really hard to say, you know, what kind of GRE score do I need to get into a certain school? And it's difficult because competitive scores can be different, not just from school to school, but from between programs within schools. So it's really important to think about, you know, this isn't kind of the thing that everything hinges on. But some master's programs will give you data on that in terms of what their competitive scores are. For recommendation letters, if you're going for a PhD or a research master's, usually they want to see at least 1 letter from a professor, somebody that knows your academic experience. But for most master's programs, this can really be your employer, your mentor, colleagues that you work with. The people that should write your letters are people that know you the best, that can really speak to your potential in grad school. So make sure that you're thinking carefully about who you want to have speak for you, because that's what they're doing essentially. They're standing up to speak for you. When you're reaching out to your recommenders, make sure that you review all of the submission requirements. Send them your CV or a resume or a bulleted highlight reel of all of the amazing things that you've done. And that helps them write that letter and keeps things fresh in their mind. Of, oh, yes, I remember when Yasmin did this great thing and I have to write about that. So make sure that you give them some help and also kind of tell them, this is the deadline. I'm going to be following up with you. Make sure that you do that as well. Statement of purpose. You're going to have to write a different essay for every school that you apply to, and that's the right thing to do. So you want to really make sure that you're tailoring these to every individual program and really talk a lot about what you want to do in grad school, what you hope this degree will do for you after grad school as well. Think about it as kind of your journey here, like how, what set you up for success? What do you want to do well in grad school? And then after that, what do you want to do? So a past, present, and future kind of approach. Show your command of language. We talked about grad school being a lot of writing, and you want to show an admissions committee that you are capable and you are ready for that. Make sure that if they give you a question to answer or a prompt, you follow it exactly. You want to make sure that you answer any questions that they have for you and to the best of your ability. And really make sure that you share your accomplishments, brag about yourself a little bit. I think that can be hard for a lot of us to do, but it's a really good thing to do, especially when applying to grad school. For research degrees, if you're going for a research master's, it's pretty common in the US to connect with faculty that you want to work with. You're not always going to get a response. That's okay, but it's really good practice to reach out to faculty because there's two models of admission. So for master's programs, most of the time it's going to be a cohort-based admission. You're admitted to the program and then you're matched with a faculty advisor or a staff advisor once you get into the program. For research master's degrees, it's a little bit different because your research advisor is kind of like your boss who's directing what you're going to work on. And so you might need to build that relationship as part of the application process so that they vouch for you to the admissions committee. Always good practice if you're doing a research degree to approach faculty, but how do you do that? The easiest way is send an email. So do your homework, ask them thoughtful questions. Again, make sure that you sell yourself, give them a highlight reel, talk about all of the great things that you have done. Don't be discouraged if you don't get a response because you have two goals. The first one, of course, is to get a meeting. The second one is to get your name out there. So is to have them talking in the admissions committee meetings about you and, oh, we got this great email and I want to make sure we read their application carefully. And so don't be discouraged. Make sure you get your name out there and give them as much information as possible so that they will want to respond to you quickly. So what do you want to show? U.S. admissions committees value many things, but show you're persistent, you're hardworking, you're reasonable, and you really want to show that you're going to be a good colleague wherever you go to school. And so show that through your essays, show that through how you've already been a good colleague, the organizations that you've been involved with, things that you've done both as a student or maybe as somebody in the workforce who is involved and wants to make a difference. Show that you're committed to pursuing a graduate degree, show them why this is the path you want. So again, tying it back to the beginning, have that why well defined and make sure that you can tell the admissions committee why you want to study a master's degree. So final notes, make sure all of your applications are complete and submitted by the deadline, earlier if possible. We have this saying in the US, the early bird gets the worm. I think it's true. You want your application to be at the top of the pile and ready to go when faculty are ready to start reviewing applications. Application fee waivers do exist. So at every university, you should be asking for a fee waiver. It can't hurt. The worst they can say is no, and it could save you a little bit of money as well. There's lots of resources out there, kind of going back to the beginning. There's no one central website that's going to tell you everything that you want to know. But campus websites will have a ton of information for you. So it's a lot of work, but make sure you explore all of those program websites, get all the answers to your questions. Reach out to people, ask the questions that you have, sign up for mailing lists, and make sure that you go to events like these so that you can be connected to different individuals, different institutions, and really just do your homework, talk to as many people as possible. Remember to work with Fulbright and Education USA. That's really important because we mentioned that they are experts in this and they will guide you through the entire process. So do make sure that you're looping them into everything that you are working on. Okay, a couple of other shameless plugs as we wrap up. We do have 2 events I wanted to tell you about. One is the Gulf Coast Undergraduate Research Symposium. We hold this every fall. It is for STEM students who have done research that maybe want to come back and present their work or learn a little bit more about the science being done in a specific field. So if you scan this QR code, it will take you to our interest form, I believe, and you are welcome to join us either in person or virtually this fall here on campus. And then for social scientists, we do have another event in fall. It's really more about statistical training. So much of social sciences and humanities is really about analytics and statistics. And so this is going to kind of walk you through what some of those methods are like and get you into kind of the research being done here at Rice. So again, this QR code will give you a little bit more information, but we would love to see you here in fall if this is something that you would be interested in. And this might be my last slide. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to stop share. And I do want to make sure that we have time for questions if there are questions from anyone.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. That was amazing. I was also taking notes. So now, yeah, please do ask your questions. You can take it maybe 1 minute just to digest everything that you have heard and just open your mic or leave the question in the chat. And while we wait, I would love to hear more about Matias' experience as a Fulbrighter and how did he ended up choosing Rice as his university.
Okay, so like, yes, well, the reason why I chose Rice, I was on the other side like a few years ago, 3 years ago, and also like Jennifer and Seiichi held a webinar just like this one, and they convinced me, like, they made me feel, and that's true because like one thing you realize later is that you won't feel that warmness or that warmth in any other college in the US, I believe. And that's also like from talking with another colleagues, with another Fulbrighters. They all agree that we have like a different treatment at Rice, and that's one thing that allows like to all the students to have. And also, yeah, that's the reason why I really encourage you, like if you are thinking about going to the US to study, looking at Rice programs, and that's always like a good, it's not just because I was there, but also like from hearing other experiences, I believe in my case was the right choice. Sorry, I have a little cold here.
No worries. Thank you. That's so
And
inspiring.
I would also add, if anyone prefers to speak to Matias in Spanish or in Guarani, Guarani is a beautiful sounding language, and so I'll understand some Spanish. I won't understand any Guarani, but I still love to hear it if you want to chat with Matias in a different language.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
por
also if
favor,
you have
sí.
like any sí.
Go ahead, Matias. Go ahead.
If you
You
have
say.
like any questions and you don't wanna say it loud, like you can just type it down in the chat. That's also fine.
And I
Así
should
mismo.
note that, so Dean Matsuda is here and he's sat on many admissions committees, so he can give you the inside perspective of what that's like as well.
Yeah, and I think that for master's admission, a master's is very much an extension of undergraduate studies, and it's a lot like you're just taking a full slate of the advanced courses that you took as an undergraduate. And so admission for a master's program often depends a lot on grades. And I think that you all will have done great things, or you wouldn't be you wouldn't even come to a webinar. And so you should have real confidence in your ability. The Paraguayan educational institutions are very strong. They're very competitive. They're not soft. And so you should have confidence in what you have done to date. And one thing I always encourage students from Latin America to do is when you're describing your grades and your course performance, don't simply give the promedio, because many American faculty won't know what it means. And the grading systems are quite different in various parts of Latin America. And so it's really valuable to not just give your promedio, but to give your rank. And so and even if you don't know exactly, to say, and I'm sorry, I don't even remember. Does UNA use 1 to 10?
1 to 5.
1 to, yeah.
1 to 5. And so if your promedio was 3.5, people won't know what that means. If you say my grades were in about the top third of the class, then everyone knows that was good. So I'd encourage you to add something about rank, even if you aren't sure exactly.
That's a great advice. I do have a question
Okay.
if people are still a little shy. And this is a question because a lot of people have come and asked us the question, and we were like, okay, let's think about it. So I've noticed that a lot of students in Paraguay are super proactive. So they have done their undergrad, and then they actually start a master's here in Paraguay or in like Argentina or Brazil. And they are still in the process of finishing their master's, and they already want to do a different one because they didn't like it, or they want to have the US experience, like we talked a lot of research and stuff like that. So what do you all think about pursuing a master that is on the same field, but while still doing the master either in Paraguay or a different country?
Oh, I think that's fine. And so to do a degree at a different institution in a different language will still be a learning experience, and will be, we'll have enough challenge that you won't be bored. I think another thing you can do is do a master's in a related field. And so, if for example, you did mechanical engineering, to do a second master's in electrical engineering, those two have a lot of overlap in the mechatronics kind of area. And then, then you have more breadth. And I think it's also worthwhile so for example, if you're a Fulbrighter and have an application fee waiver, to apply to some mix of departments, so you can still decide later, would I rather do a second degree in political science, or would I rather add a degree in international relations, or in public policy, or in sociology or psychology? In the United States, it's pretty easy to change fields. And so in my home department of chemistry, the admission rate to somebody who does not have a chemistry degree is higher than if you're a chemist, because we get hundreds of applications for chemistry. But if someone brings biochemistry or physics or chemical engineering or computer science, we don't see many of those students. And so we find them more exciting. And they can also do a different kind of work.
That's a very
Hi.
interesting perspective.
I have a question. Nice to meet you all. I'm sorry, I don't know how to do the hand thing. I just started talking. Sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, here it goes. Well, my field of studies will be business. So I have a question. Since many people here in Paraguay usually work and study at the same time, I know grades are important, but it's like I always worked and studied at the same time. And my best recommendations come from my bosses or colleagues. So when it comes to a business candidate, how important is that for an applications committee?
And I'll be happy to answer
Committee.
that one. So especially in business, they care a lot about your knowledge of business. And the MBA will almost never admit someone straight out of college. because they care very much about your real world business experience. They'll value the recommendation a lot from your company. You need some recommendations from inside academia because they also want to know, how does a professor view you? So it's fine to have both.
Thank you.
I think Diego Sanchez also has his hand up, or was it just?
Yes, good evening for everyone. I have a question about there are postgraduates in law degree.
So Rice does not have a master's of law, but there are universities that do.
And I
LLM.
think in Paraguay is the law degree is an undergraduate degree, right?
Yes. So
Yes,
in
and
Paraguay,
In Paraguay, yes.
yes, and then in the United States, it's only a graduate degree. It's a JD, Juris Doctorate, and so so Rice does not have that degree, but many institutions do.
And LLM, I believe, also is law related. Yeah.
LLM too, right?
Yep. I will invite you to follow the Fulbright Alumni Association, so you can meet and connect with other people who have studied law in the US. So maybe they can guide you better in that field in specific.
great. Any other questions?
So me again. Do you can send me any offer do you have in social science?
Um, maybe you could look at the Rice website. You'll find all the programs there. Maybe you'll find the topic you're interested in. Let me just, I don't know if you have the link, maybe Jennifer.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
Yep, I just put the link in the chat here, so hopefully that will get you to, this is basically every graduate program of study that we offer and what schools that they are under. So that might help you narrow your focus a little bit. I think you mentioned social sciences specifically, so that'll give you all the programs within the School of Social Sciences. And to answer Nelson's question, so yeah, so we don't have an LLM, we don't have a JD program, but if you're interested in a PhD, we do have related fields in political science, but it really just depends on what you ultimately want to do. So do you want to be a lawyer, or do you want to do legal related research, law related research? That could be something to explore as well. But yeah, you can go straight from the bachelor's to the PhD. You don't need a master's in law to do that, or a master's at all. You're welcome.
Okay. Perfect. Maybe one more question. If not, we can end
Perfect.
a little
Good to
early.
know.
I feel like we have a lot of LLM interested, so maybe we're gonna organize an LLM workshop for those interested. That's good to know. And for those that are not, I feel like the website that Jennifer sent is great to start your research. And we can also, if you send us an email, we can send you other universities research or university search engine, so you can do your research and start working on what universities you want to apply, what programs you can find in the US according to the field you're interested in, to do a master's in this case. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you so much, Jennifer, Seichi and Matias. That was great. Hopefully we see each other again soon. And yeah, please do apply to Fulbright and consider Rice as your university.
Thank you for the opportunity, Yasmin. Belen, thank you. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
Thank
Jennifer,
you,
bye,
everyone.
Seichi. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
everyone. Bye bye.
Bye, Matthias. We miss you.
Bye. I miss you too.
We'll see
Where
you
are you,
soon.
Matthias? Are you in Asuncion?
I am in Asuncion now. I'm still at work, that's why. All right, thank you.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you. See you later.